Mindshifters, hello. How are you guys? It is snowing in the DMV today. Anywho, I wanted to do a video on how I was able to pay down my debt. One of the ways I was able to pay down my debt is by selling or by delivering pizzas. So if you watch Dave Ramsey, he talks about during the Gazelle Intensity, and that's essentially when you've made up in your mind that you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired of being in debt, you will do anything. You will work how many hours, legal and ethical and moral, to just get Gazelle intensity. You get laser focused to pay down your debt. So during the end of 2019 and 2020, I did all sorts of jobs. I'm still working multiple jobs, but not as many as I was during the year 2020. And one of the jobs I did was delivering pizzas for Domino's. I really, the whole experience and just being humbled, um, and I'll go into different story times in other videos, but I've just grown the last year, 2020, with the pandemic, but just really being self reflective, having a lot of time to sit and really think about my choices and how I got where I got, not having a money management system, not putting God at the top, not incorporating godly principles into my everyday life really kind of got me into over, and I'll do a video, maybe over 230 or $250,000 in unsecured debt that wasn't including my home. Anyways, we want to talk about like how I wrote some notes down, um, how Dave Ramsey and just following his formula and listening to the different personalities just keeps me motivated. So let's talk about my experience with Domino's. I really, honestly, really had a good experience with Domino's. I would, again, this is just my personal opinion. Please do not take this for gospel, but I had a really good experience. So during the time I was trying to find multiple jobs, Domino's, I found them through, I think you could just call up to the store or use the app, but I found them through Indeed or ZipRecruiter. And I'll go over different ways if you're looking for multiple jobs or jobs in general, but those are like two really good resources. And I had my interview, and one of the questions I had was like, one, how much we made hourly, because I know things are, jobs like that, service oriented jobs like that, are contingent upon tips, but I wanted to make sure I had a good idea what if, I didn't know what the clientele would be giving me. So let me just tell you, for at the time, Domino's in my area was charging $10 an hour. Just, before you start delivering, just when you start your shift, an hourly wage. I believe they're up to 12 or $13 because of the pandemic. Because remember, a lot of food companies actually increase their profits. But anyway, so $10 an hour. And then on average, um, I did the analysis, I made about $160 a night. Oh, no, no. What's my average? Yeah, so I averaged about $160 a night. Well, hopefully, I think I did my math wrong, but this is just a ballpark. And I have a spreadsheet I just left off the last 2 months that I'll show you guys at the end of this video. So essentially, each, so let me just explain to you um, what my weekend looked like. Friday and Saturday I worked. Sunday I tried to keep to the Sabbath, but I worked holidays. So like Halloween, I know it is a holiday in pizza world. Halloween, Christmas Eve, Thanksgiving Eve, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I worked holidays. So I did my numbers. I feel like this is wrong, but anyways, I have 160 times 4 because there's 4 weeks in a month. So that's 640. And then 640 times 6, which is 38.40, but I also added the hourly wage, which is like the same thing. So essentially, I worked at Domino's for 6 months, and I calculated that I made approximately $7,600. And there, give or take, because you have to factor in taxes and things like that. So I thought it was a great part-time gig. I was able to put a good dent into my debt snowball, which I'll do another video separately. But I think for me, I really enjoyed the Domino's company. I enjoyed the training. If you do full time, I think after a year you can start like investing in the company, they investing in your 401k. I thought they had really good training. A lot of the people that ran the Domino's where I worked, they were young and they were just awesome. They were great leaders, great at doing inventory, great at dealing with customer service. I have some stories for that. They just, to me, I thought there were a lot of soft skills and to me like concrete skills that people developed, especially if you wanted to move up. There were a lot of like OGs, we called them, who've been there. They didn't have any aspirations to get into leadership, but they just been around, so they can kind of give us tips and things like that. Not those type of tips, but they can give us advice on sort of just making our job, just easing into it. I thought it was a really good company because there was no ageism. It's like if you can move and you can drive, and I didn't feel like I was getting dinged if I wasn't as fast as a driver as someone else. I felt like my manager, she did a wonderful job at like kind of assessing where people are and making sure you felt comfortable. And I'm trying to think of anything. So that was, to me, great part-time, probably a great full-time. Also, too, I thought was really good about the company. They also, at the end of the night, they calculated your fuel. So they had an algorithm. They had these really cool algorithms for everything. They have an algorithm for delivering pizzas. Essentially, they make sure that, people's pizzas is super hot. They have these really cool bags to keep your food hot, but they also they could give you 4 tickets. Like if, let's say you had orders right next to one another, so that way no one would have cold food, and that way you can get 4 different houses. Does that make sense? But it's like this, it's clustered really. The algorithm had the clusters really good. Also, when towards the end of my time, they did this app thing, which I'm still getting used to that whole situation, and which essentially you would log in through your app. And so it had like the Google Maps. It could track where you were going, which there's pros and cons to that. And I'll do another video about that. But I thought that was really cool. And part of it is they would give you part of your cell phone bill. So I don't know if they're still doing that, but I thought that was really cool. Flexible scheduling was a really good thing. So I was able to, if I wanted to work more during the week, or if I wanted to work Sunday, which maybe a couple times I did if the holiday fell on Sunday, like after I got home from church, you could. They were really flexible. So let's see. I think that was everything. So just go. The pros. The pros is that you get your hourly wage as well. An hourly wage was really good. At plus your tips. So depending on the area you work in, I worked in a really that's a whole other story. I'll go some chronicles about that. But I worked in a really broad area where it's affluent to maybe it's middle class or working class. So you make really good tips. Also, I thought they were really flexible in the scheduling. I thought the fact that they calculated how much fuel you used into your payment at the end of the night. Oh, that's another thing. You can choose to get payment at the end of the night, or they can direct deposit it every night. So essentially you get paid every day, especially if you're a delivery driver. And you don't have to keep the money on you. And that was a big important thing to me. We can only keep $20 or less. I tried to keep very little money on me, if any. And that goes into some of the pros I think about a job like that. But anyway, I hope this video helps. It seemed like it may be all over the place. So I may redo this, but I was going to say, like, there are other food services that the young people talk to me about. GrubHub, Uber Eats, grocery delivery services that, again, I think maybe safety wise, I'm not saying that I had any situations at Domino's, but I'm older and I was a police officer and I'm a parent and I'm just an old lady now. That I probably, maybe if I was recommending, would be one of those services. But all I can say is Domino's is really good to me. Now, why did I stop working? So you all see some of the videos that some of the reasons why I stopped working, why my car stopped. What I noticed that I was starting to, because I was working so much, and what you guys are seeing this year, 2021, is me trying to get back on, fitness and nutrition, all that wraps up together. I started to lose my mobility, or I guess my fitness level. So when you had to get to certain apartment buildings or condos, or we lived near a military base and you have to go certain barracks, all these flights of stairs, I was getting really winded and tired. So not only did my car stop, and I was able to still drive his car, but I realized I don't want to put all those miles since my car is like 10 plus years old. I'm already pushing 200K, and I just didn't want to put those many more miles. And I had reached my goals that I wanted. Also, I like almost hazed myself one night. That's the story. I'll tell y'all later. And three, my son had a talk with me. And at the time, he was in high school. I think he was in his last year. So he had to have a talk with me, and I'll go into that later. So we had to like sit down and look at my goals. And, it was just determined that I had enough other part time gigs that I needed to stop. So that's kind of where that was. But like I said, I saw a title. I didn't watch the gentleman video. I may even put his title. Dave Ramsey told me to sell pieces, so I did, or something like that. But yeah, I did, because I was that serious. And I'm going to give you guys an update. And I'm humbled. That experience humbled me. And it just also, I just met some wonderful people. I hope I impacted their lives for the 6 months that I was there. And if any of you guys are interacting with food delivery people, hopefully you're not, but just tip well. You don't have to overly tip. But if you all want me to do a video on that, I can. But to tip well, even if I had some orders where I messed up and I remedied the situations, and we were able to normally compensate our customers, and just realize that, and I had some very unpleasant experiences. Just remember that most people that are in that, they're trying to supplement their income, or some people that they really like the service industry, or maybe this is what they could get at this point in their life. But all the people I met, they were just they were professional. I surprisingly, I shouldn't be surprised, but I've worked in food services before. It was a very clean environment. Like everything was clean. And I don't know why I was expecting the worst, but I can't talk to any other pizza places, or maybe it was just our store. That manager ran it. She was loving, but she was also stern. Very clean store. People were clean. And I love the fact that the guys, if they had like I have locks, or if they had their hair loose, they wore like a hairnet. I hadn't seen that. And I think that was just her rules or something, because I don't know if all food places do that. But you couldn't have nails if you were on the line dealing with the food. I really was very pleasantly surprised. So anyway, this is to finish my commercial, my plug for Domino's. It's really good pizza. I think too, if you're doing keto, low carb, remember you can get, if you have to and your friends are getting pizza, you can just get some. Okay, video cut off, but I was talking about, if you are on some sort of like restricted diet, I think you can find something at the Domino's menus. There's gluten-free pizza, all that good stuff. So I just want to sum up the video that I was able to, in 6 months, I was able to essentially pay, I gotta look at that, but $7,600 towards my debt snowball. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I'm so grateful. And we're so fortunate in this country, I think, that if you do have reliable transportation, you can make some money, trying to meet these financial goals. Again, I'm probably going to go into a series. It may be on my other channel. I think it'll be on this channel. Just as I'm working with my son, and I'm going to ensure that he doesn't fall into any sort of debt. He has different money management plans. I'll present another one that I found through my church, which I think is a good option in case you still want to stay plugged into the matrix. You want to get a credit score. That's why you see some of my videos talk about that. And plus, to me, if you're already in the matrix and you're doing Dave Ramsey plan, you still may have to kind of play you have to have a strategy. Anyways, delivering pieces definitely did help me meet my goals. And it was, like I said earlier, it was humbling. And but I'm glad I had that experience. I never thought I'd be 38, have, one master's degree. I'm a thesis away from a second one. All these things that, in our society, like it means something, right? It doesn't mean anything. If you are a working class person or making minimum wage and you have a hold of a good money, personal finance or money management, you can really do some great things. And it's all about mindset. It's all about applying that to a good system. So don't let all these other things cloud your judgment. And I will be very forthcoming with you coming in 2020 about a lot of decisions I made financially in my 20s and early 30s that were poor financial decisions and poor decisions in general. And I will give you my solutions of how I got out of some of these things, such as timeshare, some other stuff. Get quick schemes, MLMs. Yeah, I've done it all, guys. But you know what? Isn't that wonderful that we serve a God of another chance, not a second chance and a third, but another chance and redemption, right? I love stories about redemption and the journey of the protagonist to become this new person or discover these different levels about him or herself. So Mindshifters, that's my journey. You can listen to some of my chronicles when I was sitting in a car. But you can see that the uniform had changed too. So I started off when they had the black uniforms, and then towards my time, they changed uniforms into like a gray. And it was more comfy too, and joggers or something. So anyways, I hope this helps someone. I hope this encourages you. You don't have to do something forever, but just be really targeted with why you're doing things and realize Murphy's Law is a thing. I can go on and on, but I will talk to you guys later. And just thank you for staying with me. Thank you for staying on your journeys and inspiring me. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, Mindshifters.